All right, today we're doing something a little different. We're going to step right inside the book of Revelation and go on a cinematic verse-by-verse journey through three really important ancient letters. The idea here is to make this stuff so visual that you just can't forget it. You ready? Let's get into it. So our first stop is the city of Sardis. Now, this place had a fantastic reputation, but it also had a little secret, a history of being conquered because its guards literally fell asleep on the job. And believe me, that backstory is about to become this huge, powerful metaphor for a church that looks amazing on the outside, but spiritually, it's a ghost town. So right off the bat, verse 1 hits us with this shocking diagnosis. I want you to picture this. You walk into a stunning city square. The buildings are gorgeous, the gardens are perfect, but then you notice something's off. It's dead silent. And you realize those aren't people. They're statues. Lifelike, but just statues. A perfect, beautiful shell with no soul inside. That, right there, was Sardis. Okay, so verse 2, the call to action here is just desperate. Think of a watchman totally frantic, down on his knees over what's left of a giant bonfire. He's blowing on these last few embers, just trying to coax a tiny flame back to life before they go out for good. He's trying to save the little that remains. For a city that fell twice because it wasn't watchful, man, this would have hit them hard. And then verse 3 lays out this really stark warning. Imagine someone fast asleep in their bed, completely oblivious, and outside a shadow moves. A figure is silently, expertly picking the lock on their front door. There's no warning, no alarm, just bam, the sudden shock of an intruder they never saw coming. It's a painful echo of their own city's past. But you know what? Even in this place, there's a glimmer of hope. In verse 4, it's like the camera pushes in, right past the statues, and finds something real. In the middle of this crowd covered in grime and mud, there's this small group of people. And they're wearing these brilliant, pristine white clothes that almost seem to glow. They are completely untouched by all the filth around them. And that leads to the promise in verse 5. Wow, the whole scene just shifts, and suddenly we're in this massive celestial courtroom. A king walks forward with one of those people in white. He puts a hand on their shoulder, looks to his father on the throne, and proudly speaks their name. And as he says it, you see that name get written in a huge book with this glowing, permanent ink that can never, ever be erased. All right, cutscene, we are somewhere totally different now. The whole mood just flips. We're leaving that somber place behind and stepping into something triumphant. We're in Philadelphia now, visiting this small but super faithful group that's about to get the opportunity of a lifetime. Verse 7 starts by introducing the one who's in charge of everything. Just imagine this huge, ancient key, and it's glowing with this internal light. It's held by this powerful, kingly figure. And with just a simple turn, he can open any door he wants or lock any door he wants. And nobody, absolutely nobody, can undo what he does. And that authority leads right to the incredible gift in verse 8. Picture this. A small group of travelers, they are just wiped out. Totally exhausted. They finally reach this enormous gate that for them has always been locked shut. But today, it's standing wide open. And there's this path of pure light just inviting them to walk right through. Then you get to verse 9, and it describes this just mind-blowing reversal of fortune. Imagine the people who used to bully and mock this little group. Well, now you see them kneeling in front of them. And it's not like they're being forced to. It's out of genuine respect, total awe. What an incredible moment of vindication for them. Verse 10 gives us this amazing promise of protection. I want you to see this in your head. A whole landscape is getting absolutely hammered by a violent storm. Wind, rain, chaos everywhere. But right in the middle of it all, there's this community, and they are completely safe. They're inside this transparent dome of peace. The storm is raging all around them, but inside, they are totally untouched. Verse 11 is like the coach's speech in the final seconds of the game. It's a call to just hang on. Think about an athlete in the final stretch of a race. They're exhausted, their lungs are burning, but they are clutching this golden crown. The finish line is right there, and they're sprinting with every last ounce of energy, just refusing to let that crown go. And the final promise for Philadelphia in verse 12 is all about permanence and identity. It's amazing. Watch this. A person literally transforms. They become this majestic, unshakable stone pillar right inside God's temple. Then a finger made of pure light comes down and writes secret names right onto the stone. They've become a permanent, honored part of the very house of God. Incredible. Okay, on to our final letter, and the tone here, it shifts again. This one is sharp, direct, and really personal. We're in Laodicea now. This was a rich city, a banking hub. But it was famous for something else, its water. It came through this long aqueduct, and by the time it got to the city, it was lukewarm and supposedly pretty gross. You gotta remember that, because it's the key to this whole letter. This is gonna be a direct confrontation. Verse 14 sets the stage. It tells us exactly who is speaking. Picture someone taking the witness stand in the highest court in the universe. This isn't a witness. This is the witness. Every single word spoken is pure, undeniable truth. There's no spin, no angle, just raw reality. So verse 15 gets to the heart of the problem, and it's all about usefulness. Imagine 3 glasses on a table. One is steaming. It's hot tea. It's comforting. The second one is full of ice-cold water. It's refreshing. Both are great, right? They serve a purpose. But then there's the third glass. It's just tepid, room temperature water. Just like the water in their city, it's unappealing and it's good for nothing. And that leads to verse 16, which has one of the most graphic, visceral images in the entire Bible. Seriously, imagine someone picking up that third glass of lukewarm water, taking a sip, and their reaction is immediate. They spit it out, just instinctively, with total disgust. It's such a powerful gut punch of an image for rejection, and it's one they would have understood perfectly. Verse 17 then just rips the blindfold off. It shows this huge disconnect between perception and reality. So you see this person, they're dressed in these expensive, fancy clothes, looking in a mirror with total confidence. But the reflection staring back at them is someone in rags, dirty, shivering, and blind. It's a total contradiction. They think they have it all, but in reality, they have nothing. But verse 18 immediately offers the cure, and it uses things their city was famous for. The scene changes, and now there's this divine merchant, and he's offering 3 things. First, pure gold that has been refined in fire, not the stuff from their banks. Second, a perfect white robe to cover their nakedness. And third, a special eye salve that, the moment you use it, makes your vision crystal clear. Now, you might think these words sound harsh, but verse 19 tells us exactly why they're being said. Think about a loving dad who sees his little kid about to run right out into a busy street. He doesn't whisper, "Oh, honey, maybe you shouldn't do that." No, he yells. He gives a sharp, firm command. The rebuke feels harsh, but it comes from a place of deep, protective love. And all of that tough love leads to one of the most famous invitations ever in verse 20. You see a solid wooden door, and you hear this knocking. It's not angry, it's not demanding, it's just gentle and persistent. Knock, knock, knock. But here's the most important part. There's no handle on the outside. The only way that door can be opened is from the inside. The choice is entirely up to the person in the room. So as we zoom out and look at these 3 letters, these 3 little movie scenes, a really clear pattern starts to show. Every single one, from the church that was dead to the one that was lukewarm, they all end not with a final judgment, but with this incredible invitation for anyone who's willing to overcome. So let's just recap these amazing rewards, shall we? For those faithful few in Sardis, the promise is to be dressed in white, pure and clean, with their name locked securely in the book of life. For the ones in Philadelphia who held on, it's about permanence, becoming a solid pillar in God's own temple. And for the church in Laodicea, if they'll just open the door, they get the most unbelievable promise of all, to sit with him on his throne, sharing in his authority. And that brings our whole journey today down to one final thought. We've seen that picture of Jesus standing at the door of the church in Laodicea. But that ancient image isn't just about them, is it? It's also incredibly personal. So the question it leaves hanging in the air for all of us is simple, but it's also incredibly profound. Which door is he knocking on today?